Hi, and welcome to our Conceive Baby discussion today. Today we'll be talking about a topic that's probably often avoided when we're trying to fall pregnant. It's easy to get so caught up in that baby-making goal that we can really lose that intimacy that we have with our partner. So today we're going to be talking about why it is so important to maintain that intimacy, as well as some practical advice to help you keep the intimacy alive. So firstly, for those of you who haven't joined us before, my name's Tasha Jennings, founder of Conceive Baby. I'm a naturopath, nutritionist, natural fertility specialist, and author of The Vitamins Guide and The Fertility Diet, as well as an expert contributor to many major media publications. I'm also the director of Isiah. Now, Isiah means life and specialises in premium nutritional supplementation to promote and support life in its earlier stages. And as many of you who are part of the Conceive Baby community would know, I'm passionate about helping couples fall pregnant and have happy, healthy babies. And my aim for conceivebaby.com.au is to really bring together a team of specialists across all aspects of fertility and preconception health to provide you with qualified expert information to help you achieve your baby dreams. And a valued specialist that we have today is Isiah McKimmie. Isiah is a couples therapist, a sex therapist, sexologist and coach who has been helping women and couples discover a deeper intimacy and desire for over a decade. As one of Australia's most qualified sex and relationship experts, Isiah holds a master's degree in Relational Psychotherapy, a master's degree in Science in Medicine, in Sexual Counselling and Psychosexual Therapy, a Post-Graduate Diploma of Sexology, and a certificate from the prestigious Institute for the Advanced Studies of Human Sexuality. And beyond that, as you'll see, she's compassionate, understanding, and absolutely non-judgmental. She builds her reputation on getting results and helping her clients live happier lives. So welcome, Isiah.
Thank you so much, Tasha. It's lovely to be here.
Well, when we're talking about falling pregnant, we can often get so focused on that goal, as we said, that we forget that deeper intimacy. And I know you are well versed on this topic, so thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. I know you've just come off the back of an interview with the ABC, and you're also in Harper's Bazaar this month, so busy times for you. So we really appreciate you making the time to speak with us today. So firstly, as we said, sex can become about the baby-making goal more than a real connection. Why should we maintain that intimacy? Why is it so important?
Yeah, I think intimacy can be such an important part of our relationship, and in so many ways, the glue that holds our family together. So, you know, you and your partner staying really connected on this journey is, of course, going to benefit everyone. It's going to make it easier on you. It's going to make it easier on your partner. And it's also, I think, really helpful to consider the nest that you're inviting this baby into, like that you're already creating that and creating a really solid partnership for going forward together with your family.
I think that's wonderful that you were saying. I know we were discussing this earlier, and it's something I hadn't really considered. We sort of considered the intimacy about something between us as a couple that we need to maintain, but it's not just about that. It's about bringing the baby into a loving environment and keeping that alive to bring that baby into that beautiful nest. I think it's a lovely analogy that you use there.
Yeah, absolutely. And to I understand the kind of challenges that go on when people are trying to conceive, but to have that, conception really be born out of love and that, our love making together can be, some of the most beautiful and intimate times that we spend together. So to have that be, some of the creation, or at least some of the groundwork that, whichever route you choose to kind of end up conceiving from, that's some of the groundwork that you're inviting the baby into.
I think you're right, and that holds true whether you are trying to conceive naturally and that has become the goal, or else you are going through IVF. And either road can be difficult to maintain that intimacy, because that sex becomes a different purpose in a way. So creating that beautiful warm nest is great, but it can be easier said than done. We are so focused on that baby, and I know from personal experience you really, really want that baby now, and will go to any length to really make that happen.
Yeah.
What are some tools and advice that you use with your clients to help them achieve that intimacy that we're talking about?
Yeah, so I've worked with clients at various stages on this journey, with clients who are in it, to actually clients who've kind of been through it and then realize that they need to kind of go back and connect, because it did become a chore. It became scheduled. One or both partners felt like they had to perform, or they felt like one or both bodies were kind of letting them down, and so sex kind of became a reminder of what wasn't working. So I think for me there are really kind of 5 key areas that I think are really important to look at in terms of reigniting desire, but really keeping intimacy alive as well. For me, when I'm talking about sex and intimacy, I'm also talking about the whole relationship. So for me, having like a really solid foundation of connection, love, understanding between you is then what your more physical and sexual intimacy can be built on.
And it's a great way to think about it. I think it takes almost the pressure off the sex as the goal, but creating that relationship that then leads to something more deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. So to really think about keeping general intimacy alive in the relationship, which means, just remembering all the things about your partner that you love, the reasons you wanted to start a family with this person, and remembering the love and the connection that you have beyond trying to conceive. I think it's really important to remember to kind of keep seducing each other as well, so that it isn't just about sex as a function. It really is about remembering acts of kindness towards each other. So, doing things, putting an effort into your relationship, and it can happen for all of us when we have really busy lives that, we don't have time. We can end up kind of taking our partner for granted, or we can feel like we're 2 ships passing in the night, because we're spending time together, but we're never kind of having that deeper connection or kind of stepping outside the daily grind. So I really suggest that, couples make time to spend together. I think that can be a really, really key kind of issue. And so often for couples that I'm working with in coaching, I will suggest 2 things as a start. So one is what I call a 10-minute daily check-in. And that's really about taking 10 minutes out of your day when you both get home at night to actually just be together, to really stop and actually just look at each other without any distractions going on, to do something as simple as talking about how your day was. Like really, how are you doing today? How are you? What's going on for you is something that can often be overlooked. I really encourage my clients in that check-in to also share something that they appreciate about each other, because again, that's one of the things that I think, we can kind of take for granted or can get lost, in the daily grind, and particularly when we're going through something challenging, like trying to conceive. And that there's actual physical touch included in that check-in as well, that, that there's presence with that physical touch. It isn't, just kind of touching each other on the couch, although that's really beautiful as well, but that there's something quite intentional about strengthening your physical connection that way. And, you know, and really 10 minutes can make such a difference in that to your relationship. You know, and the other thing I recommend that people do on more of a weekly basis is, you know, is to have some kind of date night. You know, and whether that's going out or doing something just a little bit special, but staying in, I think it's really about kind of saying to each other, this relationship is really important to us, and we're going to continue to make it a priority and really go out of our way for it.
I think it's really important to know when you are trying to conceive, and also when you do get pregnant, that you have these tools in place to maintain that relationship. I know we often talk about date night, and everyone talks about date night. It's almost but it is so important that we forget the importance of it because it becomes a flippant thing, and it's not just about going to the movies. It is about connecting with your partner. I think, as you mentioned, intimacy is not just about the sexual act. And in fact, there's ways to almost take that out of the equation. The intimacy becomes something else, and different forms of touch, and taking that away from the pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think you make a really good point there, because I think that's, you know, that's something else as well to be conscious of, that physical intimacy doesn't just become about a goal, that it's not, you know, during a particular window, or that it's only for, you know, for a purpose, that actually we're having this intimacy, sensuality, connection with someone, you know, throughout the month and ongoing. You know, if we, you know, are, you know, going down other routes to conceive as well, that actually that still is something that's happening between you. So, you know, any kind of physical touch and affection is going to help us release a hormone called oxytocin, which helps us feel bonded and connected. So if we're engaging in, you know, in just kind of loving physical touch with someone, our body's going to be releasing that hormone that is going to help us feel connected. So, you know, I often suggest that couples, you know, they may need to schedule time to do this as well. I call them bedroom dates, which is not just about having sex. It's actually about saying, oh, our physical intimacy and connection is really important. Let's make sure we set aside some time for that as well. That isn't, you know, part of the schedule of these are my fertile days. You know, so having a bath together, having a, you know, sexy shower time together can be really lovely. Massage together. I have a really beautiful exercise called body mapping that I often suggest that couples do, because it's really about just getting to know each other's bodies and bringing some of the pleasure and connection back to intimacy, aside from just a goal.
Yeah, tell us more about that, because I know the practical tools and things people can do are really valuable. So what more about body mapping? What can we do to I guess do that with our partner?
Yeah. So body mapping is like a massage, but it's really not about getting it right. It's more about communication and exploration. So what I have my clients do, this is a homework, obviously none of this happens in my office, is have clients, you know, set aside about 20 minutes each. One partner will start at the toes of their partner, and it's about experimenting with different kinds of touch in different parts of their body and getting feedback from that person as you go. So, you know, there's all these, you know, often soft little sensitive areas that can get forgotten on our bodies. So it's like we kind of go exploring. We look at, you know, are the backs of the knees sensitive to them? What about the inner thighs? You know, between the toes, between the fingers, and really just taking your time to give sensual touch and explore your partner's body, so that you can then take some of what you learn into your lovemaking, further down the track. Some of the feedback, you might find secret little spots, or you might discover that they like really light touch as opposed to firm touch. There's all these different things that you can learn. So it's a really beautiful, intimate and connecting exercise for couples to do. And of course, it doesn't need to end in sex. It's just a beautiful exercise to do on its own.
And a great way to take the pressure off and just make it more enjoyable than about a goal. And I know we've spoken in a previous webinar with Kath Corcoran, who's a fertility psychologist, and like the oxytocin you mentioned, fertility can be a very stressful time when you are either doing IVF or even if you are struggling on your own. There can be all manners of stress, different hormones going through your body. So I think the act of having that lack of stress in your sex life, because you don't want that to become another stress to add to the bow. It should be actually about relaxation. And if you can get those endorphins and those hormones, those really pleasure hormones and those relaxation hormones flowing through your body, you are actually more likely to conceive as well. Yes,
exactly.
Stress,
absolutely.
Turn off that ovulation, turn off those, receptive hormones. So if we can rekindle that intimacy, as you said, would be great. So how do we, also I've got another thing here, we spoke about like keeping it interesting. I know it just becomes, because we're so focused on the goal, what do you recommend people do to keep it inspiring and enjoyable?
Yeah, I think that's, I know we did speak about this earlier, because it does become routine, and, and even for couples who aren't kind of going through this kind of challenging journey as well, we can kind of fall into a little bit of a sex rut. We sometimes call it, it's like we learn what's functional and what works. And, often we're tired at the end of the day, or, if you're trying to conceive, you might not have a very big window. And so you can want it all to happen, really quickly or efficiently sometimes. So, I think it is important to keep things varied and exciting. And so that might be trying different things together. It might be, even as simple as having sex in a different room of the house, as opposed to, just the bed all the time. Scheduling a weekend away can be really helpful for that as well. It can, get you guys out of your regular routine, away from all the stresses, and just help to kind of add some excitement into it. I sometimes suggest that couples make a little bit of a routine out of it as well. So extended foreplay can actually, we're talking extended, I say actually 15 to 20 minutes is about the minimum that we recommend before women have sex. That's going to give their bodies time to lubricate. It's going to allow the muscles that hold the uterus in place to contract and just move the uterus back. And it's going to allow a woman to feel more sensation as well. So rather than having sex be all about function, make a little bit of a ritual of it. Light some candles, put some music on, have a shower together beforehand, and try a few different things for foreplay. Try some new positions, just to kind of keep it really enjoyable for both of you. Quickies are great as well. Sometimes I think, not to forget those, not to forget the place that they can have, because they can be really fun and exciting too. And I think really one of the things that in my experience help couples just maintain a really enjoyable and connected sex life together is being able to talk about sex together. And that's something that we're not often taught to do. So when I kind of became a sex therapist, I imagined that I would be learning and then teaching all of these really interesting kind of, tricks and techniques around sex. But really what I find mostly that I'm doing is teaching couples how to navigate that world together, how to communicate about it, how to discover what actually makes meaningful satisfying sex for them and for them as a couple.
Yeah, and discovering those things for yourself. I know you mentioned it's not all about your partner, but also about the self-care that you need to help maintain that intimacy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think self-care is really important in any relationship. And it often kind of gets overlooked in, in a lot of, relationship tips. Self-care can be overlooked, but you nourishing yourself, kind of filling up your own tank. So you're giving to your partner, and then to your family from the overflow actually benefits all of you. And, you were talking about the relaxation earlier. It's really hard to feel turned on when we're really stressed. So having time to give back to ourselves, to, having some downtime, just being able to relax and reset is really, really important for maintaining intimacy, and also for us having the energy to give to our partner.
Yeah, it's not just about I think it's great that we're seeing that intimacy, is not just about the sex, and it can be, or it is, more about the bond that you have. And also how important this is, not just in establishing a healthier relationship, but for the whole baby-making process. As mentioned initially, you're bringing the baby into this lovely nest of love that you are expressing and creating. You're also releasing the right hormones, those relaxation hormones, instead of all the cortisol that's often going on inside your body with that stress of wanting to have a baby, perhaps work pressure, stress of life in general, and also the biological clock in the back of your mind. Yeah. A lot of cortisol running through your body, and as you said, it doesn't make you feel very sexy or turned on.
Yeah.
And it's also not conducive to making a baby. So I think it's good for people to be aware, and hopefully we've broken that barrier down a bit today, is that it's okay to talk about sex outside of how it's going to help you make a baby.
Yes.
And yeah, sorry.
No, I was going to say, and also that not just that it's okay, but actually that it's important.
Yeah.
It is important. And Esther Perel, who's a wonderful therapist, she talks about desire a lot as well. In some of her papers that I've read, she says, what is it about having a meaningful sex life that we don't think that that's a need of our children? And I really liked what she's saying there, that actually the beautiful connection and the meaningful sex between two parents is a beautiful thing to be able to kind of pass on to a child, in the way of, this is how two people can have a really intimate and loving relationship. And then we teach our children as well, this is what a relationship can be. This is how you can be comfortable with sex as well, so that they get to have really meaningful, connected, intimate relationships, as they become adults as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's important to remember it's not just about the two of you. You are passing this on to your child. And even when you are trying to fall pregnant, you already, as I've spoken about in previous webinars, the egg takes 90 days to develop until it's spat out at ovulation. And you want that egg to be the healthiest egg possible and really develop in a nurturing, nourished environment. So that's really 3 months before you do actually conceive, that you are having an impact on that child, an impact on not only the health of the egg and your ability to actually create a fetus, because every month, yes, we pop out an egg. Every month that may or may not have all the DNA and all the stuff we need, or it might not be a great egg to be able to conceive. So the more it is nourished, obviously by diet and nutrition, but also about the hormones, about the lack of stress hormones, about the wonderful environment that, as I said, your future baby is already there. You're already nourishing your future baby, not only in terms of its nourishment from your nutrition perspective, but also, of course, the emotional perspective, that nourishment that your baby is getting from the right hormones flooding through. And I just think it's a great analogy of creating that nest. I know I always go back to the fact that, you know, people spend weeks, months, you know, creating beautiful nursery, decorating, painting, but the most important nursery that your baby will ever have is the one inside you. And even prior to conceiving, you're already carrying all that DNA, you're already nourishing that future child. And I think this is a great aspect that I even hadn't really considered as vital as it is.
Yeah, absolutely, Tasha.
So it's been wonderful to speak with you today. I know you're a wealth of knowledge on this topic. Is there anything you'd like to add before we go today?
Look, just you know, I think it's always really important for me to say to, you know, to people who are going through this journey, who might be struggling in some ways with their relationship, that it's really okay to reach out and get help. We can have this assumption that, you know, everyone else is doing okay. Everyone else has got this great relationship or this great sex life, and that, oh, there's something wrong with us if things aren't going as smoothly as we want them to be, or we kind of get off track a little bit. So I just think it's really important to remember that, you know, that there are people out there who can give you the support, and there's nothing wrong with you. You haven't failed. You know, it doesn't mean anything about you or your relationship if you choose to reach out and get support in that area. We can really see it as, you know, as an enhancement rather than there's something wrong that needs to be fixed. That actually just getting some support in this area can be a huge benefit to you and your partner and the process of conceiving as well.
Absolutely, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. So I think that goes for every aspect of fertility, whether it's sexual health or whether it is, an infertility issue. There's nothing wrong with you. A lot of people are going through what you're going through, and reaching out to the right specialist is more empowering than actually, you know, I can't, nothing's working. It can actually empower you to achieve your goals faster, quicker, and more efficiently. And we've got a great directory on conceivebaby.com.au for that, which I'll pop you up on, because I think people will be scrambling to come and see you for this great information. But if you do have some needs that you believe you need to see a specialist for, I know it can be quite difficult to just Google and find a specialist who you really gel with. So on conceivebaby.com.au, jump on the directory there, and we do have a list of specialists that are, you know, qualified in their professions and can really help you in that respect.
Yeah, beautiful. And, you know, and just if anyone is interested in, you know, in speaking to me further about this, I do all my sessions via Skype. So actually people get to be in the comfort of their own home. I can speak to you and your partner as well. And it also means that, you know, that I have clients all over Australia as well. So if anyone's wondering where am I, that I'm available everywhere at the moment.
I think that's reassuring to know. And do you see people overseas? I know we do have quite a large following in the US and the UK as well. Or
Absolutely. I think I've seen clients from about 14 countries at this point. So, and I often speak to clients in the US and in different parts of Europe as well.
I think that's reassuring to know, and I think that's great that we can provide this through the technology that we have available to us these days.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Thanks, Isiah, so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule, I know. So if anyone would like to hear more from Isiah, we will pop her details up on the Conceive Baby directory there, or listen to the ABC or grab Harper's Bazaar this month, where you'll see her featured. So thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one.